this is another problem on the board. The problem is very simple. So let's tackle the problem. The problem states that a traveler moves from a town P on a bearing of north 55 degrees east to a town Q 200 kilometers away. So the word from tells us where the man starts his journey. So the man starts the journey from town P, which means the first town to locate is town what? P. And this bearing is bearing for town what? P. So this bearing should be specified at town P. So the first thing is to locate town P. So let me choose this point to be the location of town P. So let me draw Cartesian at that point and put the cardinal points north, east, south, and west. So the bearing at this point is north 55 degrees east. So this thing means that from the reference point north, measure 55 degrees to the east direction. So from the reference point north, I estimate 55 degrees to the east direction. So where the 55 degrees stops, I draw a line that signifies the distance traveled, and the distance is what? 200 kilometers. So I draw a line that signifies 200 kilometers. Now the angle here is 55 degrees, and this line is 200 kilometers. So where this line stops is town Q. So I'll draw another Cartesian representing town Q, and I put the cardinal points north, east, south, and west. Next statement says that he then moves from Q on a bearing of south 25 degrees east. So he then moves from Q, which means the second journey, he starts the second journey from town Q. So this bearing should be specified as town Q. So this bearing means that the reference, from the reference point, which is cardinal point south, measure 25 degrees to the east direction. So I come to this town, from the cardinal point south, measure 25 degrees to the east direction. So this is 25 degrees. So where this 25 degrees stops, draw a line that signifies the distance traveled, and the distance is what? 400 kilometers. So I draw a line that signifies 400 kilometers. And remember, this line should be greater than this one, because this is 200 kilometers, but this one is 400 kilometers. In fact, this line should be twice this one. So this is 400 kilometers from Q. So where the line stops is the town R, because he moved from Q on a bearing of south 25 degrees east to town R. So the end of this line is town R. Then I put the cardinal points north, east, south, west. Then I join. So I join. Now, looking at this triangle, this is town P, town Q, town R. Now, looking at this triangle, I have two sides here, and I can calculate the value of this triangle, which means I can use cosine rule. to perform other calculations. Now, let me use the knowledge of alternate and corresponding angles to get the angles I can. So this angle here is 55 degrees. So alternate angle to this one is this. So this is 55 degrees. Also 55 degrees. So the total angle here is angle 55 degrees plus 25 degrees, which is angle 80 degrees. That's the total angle here. Now, the question says, find the distance between P and R. Distance between P and R, which is side small letter q, is what we are asked to calculate. And remember the condition for using cosine rule. The condition for using cosine rule is that these two sides must have value, and the angle opposite the side you are to calculate must have value. So there are value for these two sides. There is value for this angle opposite the side we are to calculate. So I can use cosine rule here, but I can't use sine rule because no opposite parameters have values. These have value, but this one doesn't. These have value, but this one doesn't. These have value, but this one doesn't. So sine rule rather, can't be applied here, but cosine rule can be applied. So this is side Q, and this side is side small letter p, because this angle is angle big letter P. So this side is side small letter p, and this side is side small letter r, because the angle opposite this side is big letter R. So this side is side small letter r. So from cosine rule, I have that Q squared is equals to P squared plus R squared minus 2 PR times cos big letter Q. So substituting values, I have Q squared is equals to, what's the value of P? 400 squared plus 200 squared minus 2 times 400 times 200 cos 80 degrees. So Q squared is equals to 400 squared plus 200 squared is equals to 200,000 minus 2 times 400 times 200 times cos 80 is 27,783.708. So Q squared is equal to this minus this. So 200,000 minus this. Q squared is equal to 172,260.29. So for Q to be alone, take square root of both sides. 172,216.29. Therefore, Q is equals to 414.989 kilometers, which is approximately 450 kilometers. So that's the value of Q. So Q is 450 kilometers.